I want to welcome all of our guests for today's show. And man, we have a really, really good show for you today. My first guest is Mr. Michael Lee. Please help me welcome Mr. Michael Lee. Mr. Lee, so great to have you today.
Thank you, Pierre.
So I want to start off by talking a little bit about your journey with Chick-fil-A. Maybe what did you do before, and how did you end up getting involved with Chick-fil-A?
Okay, I was a medical customer engineer for Hewlett-Packard, and I worked on medical equipment in the Dallas area. My wife was interested in owning some kind of business, so we looked at a bunch of different things: McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, a car wash.
Okay.
And then she mentioned to me Chick-fil-A. And at the time, I had never eaten at Chick-fil-A.
Okay.
So I said, Chick-fil-A? I don't even go to Chick-fil-A. So,
But she had.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It was her favorite restaurant.
Gotcha.
And what ended up happening is I went and looked at, sent away for their information and got it, and found out that their values and our values coincided, and sent the application in. Now, the application was 13 pages.
Wow.
I went all the way back to high school. The process took 11 months.
Okay.
I had 6 different interviews. And then I was blessed enough to open up the Kima store in November of 2001.
Wow. So, from what I understand, there's sort of kind of two pathways that are kind of known in the Chick-fil-A ownership path, which is internal candidates and external candidates. So you would fall sort of in the external candidate side. But what I also understand is that the numbers show that most of the candidates tend to be internal, which means to be an external candidate that gets accepted to own a franchise is it's a pretty big deal, right? Because the numbers are like 1% of 1% of, less than 1%.
Right.
So how did you know that going into the process?
I didn't have a clue.
Okay.
It wasn't until after I was selected that I found out. Back then in 2000, they averaged about 10,000 applications a year.
10,000 applications per year.
And they chose less than 1%.
Right. Which, from what I understand, that number has increased now.
It's about
right?
40,000.
Oh my gosh. So so you got the Kima store.
Got the Kima store.
And what sort of like transition or change did you see from your time at HP to your time at Chick-fil-A?
Well, coming from corporate America, a
Yeah.
lot of things were black and white.
Sure.
Coming into quick service, there's a lot of gray.
Okay.
So it took me an adjustment to understand that there was more gray than there was in the corporate world.
Sure.
And that took a little bit of a transition, just understanding who my employees were and what their needs were and what was the best way to address and handle those needs. That was a little bit of a challenge initially.
So if you were to say Michael Lee learned 3 big things that were sort of kind of like surprising in the first year or two of your role as a franchisee, what would you say some of those things would be?
First thing I would say is patience.
Okay.
Second thing I would say is compassion.
And third thing?
Systems.
Now, Chick-fil-A inherently comes, obviously, because of their model, a lot of the systems that are already built in and are already in place for you. But then the challenge becomes in executing them. And to your point about some of that gray area, and that you have to make it work for your community, for your employees, for your team members, for the unique needs that you have within the makeup of your organization.
Yes.
And do you believe that to be a ever evolving challenge, or
Absolutely.
do you feel like, man, I've got it now?
No, it's always changing.
Sure.
As technology changes, so in the very beginning when we started, we didn't do face-to-face, where now we do face-to-face. So in the beginning of face-to-face, for example, what you did is you had a cell phone or you had a headset, and somebody was outside writing the orders down, and you had to create a numbering system so that you could move it as quickly as possible.
Okay.
Where now it's on an iPad and there are people outside. They have a cash cart, which is outside now.
Wow.
So things have evolved, and as they've evolved, we have to evolve as operators because the systems change and technology has changed, and that has allowed us to do things that we weren't able to do when I started in 2001.
What do you believe is part of Chick-fil-A as a whole ranks continuously number one in customer service, but also the drive-through, right? The drive-through is something that gets talked about a lot because you can sit next to a competitor. We won't name competitors, but that another quick service restaurant that has a drive-through with 6 cars. You guys have 50 cars, and those cars are moving, twice or 3 times as fast as a competition. What do you believe are the key ingredients of what's allowed that to happen?
Execution.
Okay.
Team members buying into what the goal is, and that is to move as many cars as possible through the drive-through to have the service be friendly, fast, and accurate without rushing the customer.
And you've seen some of that improvement from the time that you had your store at Kima.
Absolutely.
And then came a transition where you had the opportunity to buy the 96 at League City Towne Center location. Mm-hmm. When did that happen?
That happened in December of 2008.
And was it something that you'd been looking forward to, or was it they came to you? How did that come about?
Because we're internal candidates, we have an idea of where all the stores are coming.
Sure.
So I heard rumors in 2004 that they were looking to put a store in League City. That didn't come about until sometime in 2008. And at the time, here would be another change. At that time, when they were making new stores, they only had one drive-through lane. So it's been over the last 5 or 6 years that we've now gone to double drive-throughs again, because need, taking care of the customer, moving it faster, being more efficient, we have switched. So initially, League City Towne Center only had one drive-through lane when the store first opened in 2008.
And not just double drive-throughs, but also additional locations, because I believe now there's the Kima location. There's also a location on 96 and South Shore. Mm-hmm. There's also your location, which is off of 646. Mm-hmm. And there's also another location coming down Texas City that's, I think, scheduled to open April 4th, sometime next week. If you guys are just now tuning in, we're talking live with Mr. Michael Lee, owner-operator of the Chick-fil-A in League City Towne Center. We are going to take a short commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk some more and ask him some questions about what are some new items coming down the pipeline on the menu, and we're also going to talk about his particular store and some of the great events that they have there. All of this and more on today's episode of On Air with Pierre.
Every meeting and group event deserves to be at South Shore Harbor Resort. From extravagant to intimate, trust us to make your next business event a success. Perfectly located just 30 miles south of Houston, South Shore Harbor Resort is the largest full-service waterside resort in Southeast Texas. Mixing business with pleasure has its benefits. Our executive chef has created a delicious menu full of the best local ingredients. With upscale, casual, and poolside dining options, there is something for every appetite. Business has never been easier with such amazing choice of meeting spaces that provide a relaxed waterfront setting. Our state-of-the-art amphitheater is perfect for delivering a winning presentation. Swim, float, or paddle up to the poolside bar and enjoy the sun in our amazing 185-foot tropical oasis pool. Or take your time and lounge around in one of the beautiful private cabanas. You're going to sleep well in our luxurious, spacious, and airy rooms, furnished with plush bedding and a maritime theme. Business does not have to be all business while conferencing at South Shore Harbor Resort and Conference Center. Memories made here.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are talking with Mr. Michael Lee, owner-operator of the Chick-fil-A in League City Towne Center. Mr. Lee, yeah, we have some folks in the audience. I like that. You got some fans, and I think it's because in the green room there's some chicken nuggets, which are a favorite of folks. Mr. Lee, when you when you think about Chick-fil-A and all the evolution that it's gone through, do you get excited about some of the things that are coming down the pipeline and some of the things that you guys are continuously working on?
Absolutely.
To speak to that, there's been some changes in the menu, enhancements, what I would call, and you also have a brand new flavor shake that just got released, I believe, this week.
Yes.
So do you want to talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's a key lime shake.
Okay.
I haven't tried it yet. I'm not really a shake.
You're not.
Not really. Too many calories for me.
I will tell you, when you guys have during the holiday season the peppermint shake, I'm a sucker for that. And at first, when I saw it, it's got that pink, kind of look and stuff, and I'm like, I don't know, this kind of looks like Pepto-Bismol kind of. And then you try it, and then they put the little crunchy stuff in there. I mean, it's phenomenal. So now you got key lime. It's a brand new flavor. Mm-hmm. It's limited time only.
Yes.
It's available at your store.
It is. That,
once again, is located off of 646 and 45. And real quick, while we're on that subject, that place has been under construction. Has that stressed you out a little bit?
Well, it hasn't stressed me out because I've known for a while that it's coming, but now it's reality. So they took the overpass down the beginning of the month, and it will be down for 6 months. So business has been impacted greatly with this being the first month.
Right.
But what we think is, over time, people will find out how to get to that area, how to get to Chick-fil-A.
how to get their chicken, right?
Yeah. So it's going to take a little while for the people to figure out the best way to get to us.
Okay.
But people will come see us.
Okay. Do you have any hacks or codes that you've figured out as far as how to get to your location? How do you get to your store?
I get there coming through Walker Street.
Okay. Walker Street.
That's one way. Another way is to go. If you live in Bay Colony, is to go all the way through Calder, and that'll put you on 96. You come down 96 and take a right on Walker, and that'll get you through. If you're in the Dickinson area, you can go 517 and then come up Highway 3 and then come up to 646. If you're on the freeway, it's not an issue for you on the freeway.
Sure.
You can just get off at that exit and then come into the little parking lot by the Logans.
Right.
When you want to leave, the easiest way to leave, believe it or not, is to go Walker and then to go up to 96, go under the freeway, and then that will get you on the freeway going south back to Dickinson, Texas City, Lamar, Hitchcock.
There you go. You got some hacks on how to get to your favorite Chick-fil-A location, and make sure that even though there's construction and stuff, that you've got the right way to get to the location. What are some other things that are happening as far as your menu lineup, or some enhancements that are already recently in place or coming down the pipeline?
Okay, so recently we just changed the ingredients that we put into the wraps.
Okay.
And then we put into the salads.
Okay.
And what's coming down the pipeline is the packaging for the fries will change.
Okay.
And the packaging, the cups will change as well. All of that is coming down in the pipeline.
Waffle fries, man, those things are addicting. And I actually realized that I don't know how long ago this was, but y'all switched over to using sea salt to season the fries. And to me, in my opinion, I can tell the difference in a positive way.
Yeah, it's been about 18 months.
Okay, so it's been a while. But I love that there's sort of this culture of continuous improvement, right? For not just the products, the customer service, the way that the branding is done. The Eat More Chicken cows are still part, a staple part of the marketing strategy.
Very big.
What do you believe are some of the things that make you feel like Chick-fil-A is going to continue to grow in the next 10, 15, 20 years?
Well, customer service, that's one of the things that has been lost. A lot of things are automated now, where the interaction between the customer and a person is very, very important.
The level of consistency that you can find between being at your restaurant and then going to 96 or going to Kima and finding that same level of consistency, which unfortunately we don't find that in the competition or in other QSRs. That's a pride point right there, right? Because
Exactly,
that
yes.
means that you guys, between your store and the other restaurants, y'all are competitive, but y'all are also collaborative in terms of executing that, what we call the brand promise, right?
Sure.
And is that something that's been important in terms of the way that you interact with some of the other owner operators?
Sure, because generally what we have is we have an operator team meeting, and in those operator team meetings, all the operators get together and we sit and talk about strategies, what we're doing, what has worked well, what ideas might be coming down the pipeline that some of us may not know. We go and visit other stores, and you grab ideas about what they might be doing, which could be helpful and beneficial to you in your particular location. So all of that is beneficial to us, because you might be doing something at your store that I'm not doing at my store, and it is paying great dividends. Well, that would be beneficial for me to try to implement that into my location, so I can potentially get the kind of results that you're presently getting.
And that's not typical of. I mean, I don't know that a McDonald's or maybe another franchise has that level of, let me go to your store and see what your best practices are, because I may be able to take some of those best practices. That's something very unique, I think, to what you guys do.
Absolutely. And the other thing with that is, you can call any operator within the chain, even if you don't know them. They are very gracious. Let me just tell you this story. When I was going through the process, I used to work for Hewlett Packard, and I used to travel all over the Dallas Metroplex as well as East Texas. So as I was going through the process to try to become an operator, I would always stop at a Chick-fil-A. And every time I stopped, they didn't know who I was, but if the operator was there, they were so gracious to me that they just sat and spoke to me and talked to me.
Wow.
And that made such an impact on me that to this day, if anybody who is interested in becoming an operator at Chick-fil-A, I don't care if I'm at my store and I don't care how busy it is, if they want to talk about what the process was or how they might go and start, I will take time out to sit with them and talk to them about that process, because those operators were so gracious to me that I felt that I needed to extend that to somebody else who was interested in trying to become a Chick-fil-A operator.
Leading by example. Mr. Lee, we want to thank you for coming to spend some time to share your story and talk to us about the way that you've been able to lead your restaurant. And we know that you have one of the high performing stores in this market in Houston, and that's definitely something to be proud of. And we appreciate that. I hear from different community leaders out there. We love working with Mr. Lee and Shannon, who is your restaurant marketing director, who's very actively involved in giving back to the community, which is another big pillar of the Chick-fil-A culture and the brand. And so we very much appreciate that you guys lead by example, and that you're being active members of the community by giving back and interacting. You guys have family nights, events, celebrations, and that's certainly something to feel proud about. So we want to thank you for that. Any closing thoughts before a commercial break?
I just want to say, none of this could be done without the help of my team.
Sure.
So I have to give a big shout out to my team and to my leaders, because it's a pretty big operation that we run, and none of this could be done. The success that we've had in the past and what we're trying to do in the future could not be done without my team. So I would just like to give a shout out to both all the people that work in the front of the house, the back of the house, all of the leaders. I appreciate what they've done and what we're trying to do, and I just wanted to give them a shout out, because I couldn't be able to do this without their help.
Sure. Well, there you heard it. The words from Mr. Michael Lee, owner-operator from the Chick-fil-A in Lake City Town Center. We're going to take a short commercial break, and when we come back, we're talking with Whitney Lane, the winner of the Don't Mess with Texas program Song Search. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hello, my friends. You and I have a date at 11 o'clock every single Wednesday, so you can tune in and watch my show, On Air with Pierre, where I interview local celebrities and the movers and shakers of the Bay Area, Houston. So be sure and tune in to On Air with Pierre, Wednesdays at 11 o'clock.